Hi there and welcome. In this video, we're going to talk about groups. Now, groups are one of the most important first things you should do when setting up your account. And the reason is every prospect that comes into your marketing funnel should be in a group or multiple groups for you to accurately target them. Think of groups as somewhat like tags. You can use them liberally. I'll show you that in a minute, but first let's talk about some of the basics. Now, everybody is probably familiar with the concept of the marketing funnel, and this is basically how people go from completely unaware that you exist. Maybe they are not even aware that a solution exists. Maybe they're just aware of the problem. And they go through the various steps until they become buying clients here, and then finally raving fans who are able to refer other people and truly in your tribe down here in the purple. Now, at the top of that, you've got various input methods. And one of the most surefire ways you can set up your groups is by your input method. That then allows you to accurately target these people. And as you learn more about them as they get further into the funnel, if you have more conversations with them and you update the CRM, or if you learn more about them through marketing, then you can apply various additional groups down here further into the funnel and start to really get a sense for who these people are and what they're most likely to buy. In addition, this funnel concept can apply to various offers, right? So people sometimes refer to a product funnel, and that might look like something like this. Up here is your free offer. That's typically a newsletter. It could be white paper marketing, could be free reports, free videos, that sort of thing. Classic Google magnet, Google bait type of marketing is up here at the very top. And then you give somebody the chance to have a shy yes, right? As Dan Kennedy, the copywriter, says, this is your shy yes layer. Now, this could be a $1 offer, could be a 90-cent, could be a 1 penny offer, right? But at this point, this person has become a client. They actually got out their credit card and they said, okay, I trust this person at least a little bit. Let me stick a toe in the water. Here's where they start to really get engaged. Up here, they're starting to get higher levels of engagement. And obviously, the size of your audience is going to go down. However, the value is obviously going to go up. So down here, if you're an info marketer, for example, this might look like your $10,000 coaching program. If you're a financial planner, for example, you might offer free newsletters and that sort of thing up here. And then as you move down into the funnel, this might be a $10,000 a year or $20,000 a year or even a $100,000 a year client value. That's going to depend on your business. Another way of thinking about this is where people are in their headspace, right? So everybody starts with problem aware. Let's say I've got bed bugs, totally distasteful, but I don't know what the solution is, right? And I say that because I'm just in the problem space, and so I'm searching Google for what are the solutions to this problem, and then I start to become solution aware, and then finally I become brand aware. And this often happens together. When you search Google, if you consistently see one brand that sort of dominates those results, you start to become brand aware. And at this point, then you're going to start to research, is this a good fit for my problem? And you then make a purchase, and hopefully the value is delivered on that purchase, and you become a raving fan and truly in that person's tribe, and then you refer clients, and that sort of cycles back up to here. So these are all just ways of thinking about this, and the reason I'm pointing all of this out is because these are possible groups that you may wish to use. Now, at the beginning, everybody's going to start at, let's say, your input method. You don't know anything about these people. You just know, oh, I met this person at XYZ event, and therefore you drop them in. Let's say one common tactic that I've seen our own Bruce Mack use is he goes to an event in person and then creates a custom landing page. And with our system, it's so easy to create a landing page. You can create one in literally 90 seconds. He usually tasks me to do it because he's out in the field. And so I'm the guy that goes in and does it, and I'm said and done in literally just minutes. And so you set up a landing page that's unique to a specific event that then dumps all the clients, all the contacts from that event into this. And I'm telling you a little bit about our processes behind the scenes because this may be a good model that you wish to use as well. So you dump people into this group, and then you can further market to them, and then, as I mentioned, you can manually adjust them into other groups. So let's get into the actual application. So notice you've got several pages in this case of applications. Of various groups, and you're allowed unlimited groups. If you want 100 different groups, then knock yourself out. Go ahead and go crazy. and it'll show you how many members are in each of these. Now in this case, this is Bruce Mack's account, so we were using it somewhat for testing as well. So here he's got 482 members of this Google Contacts group. Here's an example of an event where he apparently met 7 people at this event and they all got added to it. This also allows you to, by creating a group for each specific event, you can then immediately give them an autoresponder, which is very simple. You just go into Marketing and Campaign Composer, create a autoresponder tied to this group so that they immediately get your contact message and it automatically dumps them. And later you can see how you met that contact initially. So to add a group, just simply go up here, click Add Group. It'll think for a second, and you can just give it a name. Now this could look like personal friends. You can also segment however you like, right? And you can have clients in multiple groups. So here we'll go to a list of contacts. In the near future, we're going to be adding additional power to this. So what you could do is create a group such as Met at XYZ event, and then later, let's say 2 months later, move these to some other additional group where you send out your marketing. In addition, when you go to send marketing, you can send it to multiple, frankly, unlimited groups. So if you wanted to send a video mail to 15 different groups, that's totally fine. Go right ahead. So if you wanted to reach everybody that you've met in person at some event, then you could send them that, or you could set up an autoresponder, something like that. In the near future, what you'll be able to do is refine this group. So let's say we just go and click this box. It's going to filter the view below. You can barely see it down here, but when I close this, this now shows only the people that were met at this specific event. And if you click on any of these names, what you can do is you can see all the different groups that this contact is a member of, right? So here we've got some actual notes. Notice everything's time, date stamped. But here you can just easily click these if you want and update this contact to be a member of this group. Note, as soon as you do click one of these additional events, you do need to go down here and hit Save Changes. We will probably Ajax that in the future, which means it'll update without you clicking that button. But for the moment, just hit this Save Changes down here at the bottom, and that'll update Mr. Bruce Mack's group membership to reflect any of these boxes. And as I mentioned, you can have multiple groups on the left. So as I mentioned, that's pretty much everything you need to know about groups. Is go ahead and create some of your groups now. What I might encourage you to do is make a few groups along the people that you know, right, and the various methods that you know people, or sort of the taxonomies, as it were, of the way that you know people. So this might include, let's say, personal friends, friends from church or synagogue or bowling buddies or whatever it is, however you know these people. If you want to reach them as a group, then go ahead and create that as a group. And then in addition, for upcoming future events, you may want to create them, if you're expecting to meet a lot of people at a single event, to go ahead and create a group specifically for that. In addition, you may wish to create a few for common methods of input to your funnel. So this might look like Facebook, website, search engine optimization, right? If somebody comes in via a landing page, then obviously you want to segment them separately. And this could be multiple different landing pages met in person at XYZ event, and let's say LinkedIn lead generator for using the LinkedIn lead gen tools. Then you want to dump those people to a specific group so that you can tailor your outgoing messages and autoresponders to them. One of the common questions is, how do I set up an autoresponder for a group? And it's very simple. We'll just go right here, and this gray box, which should get restyled shortly, this gray box is how you define who is going to get this. And all you need to do is tie it to the group just by clicking it. So for example, we could just put MLP beta in this case, and as soon as we click that group, now anybody who's added to the group called MLP beta is going to get this message, whatever it is. So I could give it a delay, let's say 7 days. Initially, we usually want to send something out immediately, so let's put something like 0. We'll put nice to meet you, contact. Now this top message is just for me, right? In this case, we want to send them an email. We could send them an SMS or even a voice cast. I don't want to do that. I just want to keep it simple and send them an email. And the trigger type is group membership. It really means opt-in date, but technically, even if we add them manually to the back end and they're added to this group, we have this here because we will shortly have additional trigger types, which could be calendar events or something like that. Profiles, that is the product which we are most interested in shaping the conversation around. So if you run multiple businesses, let's say hypothetically you are an insurance agent, but you also do credit repair and you also are in an MLM, then you would probably have 3 different profiles here, one for each business, because that's going to shape some of your marketing. It's just a way of lumping your marketing together or grouping your marketing together. So anyway, in this case, let's put MaxLead Pro. We're going to leave that at 0 days because we want to send that immediately, and it's based on opt-in. We're going to leave the account here to this. If you've got multiple profiles, then you can choose which account this is going to be sent from. I'm going to close this. For the subject, we're going to put in something like this. Nice to meet you, first name, with all caps with braces around it. We're going to put a list of variables over here. This is an early stage version, so we'll drop that information in over here so you have it handy. The variables you can use, but that includes things like first name, company name, stuff like that. So what that'll do is if somebody is added to this group called Bob, let's say, and their first name is defined as Bob, it'll say, nice to meet you, Bob. Okay, there I've written a quick message. Notice I've included a variable here. And again, that is set to go out to to the MLP beta group. So anytime somebody's added to that, they will then get this message. If I wanted to follow up 7 days after them being added or 7 days after their opt-in, I could just change this to 7, something like that. Here's a little tip. Whatever day of the week the person opted into your newsletter may be, in the case of web traffic, is usually the best day to reach them, whatever day that is for them. So for example, if they're surfing on your website on Saturday, that may be a good time to reach them. So I like to use 7, 14, 21, 28 days, for example, for some of my follow-up. Also, statistically, for long-term follow-up, 3 weeks is oftentimes, not for all industries, but for this study was done on real estate, where touching somebody once every 3 weeks yielded the highest number of referrals to real estate agents. So if for those who are involved in those type of professional services, 3 weeks may be a good method to stay in front of people. Another common question is, how do I simply send a message right now to a group? And it's as simple as going to contacts and then send group message. You can also use those same variables that I mentioned before right down here, and you can just drop them in. So you can put in something like, now that's going to say happy holidays, Bob, right? And you can compose your message down here if you wanted to put a link. You'll see this editor all over MaxLead Pro, and anytime you do, it's always standard. So I invite you to play with these and find out about the controls. In this case, I'm going to go here. Let's make this a heading 1. If we wanted to make this a hyperlink, we can put in, and this is actually an HTTPS, so we'll put that here. We'll select that, and we could even define the target, which means pop a new window, right? So we could do something like that. If we wanted, we could even upload files to the server, such as images, that sort of thing, all within this pop-up. So I invite you to just play with it and get familiar with the controls, but these are fairly standard, not unlike word processing programs, something like that. I'm not going to send this out because, well, actually I haven't defined a group, but what I would need to do is click here to define any number of groups, and again, you could send this out to 15 different groups if that's what you prefer. You could also send it to somebody manually, and you can always click send me a copy, and that's useful for especially with social media. You may wish to promote this on Facebook, for example, or LinkedIn or Twitter or something like that. All you need to do is click send me a copy, and then once that copy arrives, you can easily use the social sharing tools to also get this message out quickly on your social channels. Here you can choose whatever the message type is. If you wanted to send out an SMS text message, obviously you're going to need a cell phone up here, or groups with cell phone records in there to do so. There you go. I think that's everything with groups. If you continue to have any questions specifically about groups, let us know, and we will continue to update this training video. And it is our goal that you get real value from the system. We don't want to just take your money. We want this to make a permanent, measurable difference to your business. So whatever help training you need, be sure to let us know, and we'll do what we can to record training just for you. Thanks.